On a crisp Saturday morning, 5-year-old Lily walked hand in hand with her parents through the lively streets of Westwood Market. Vendors called out their deals, and the aroma of baked goods and fresh produce wafted through the air. But Lily's attention wasn't on the bustling stalls or colorful wares. It was on a dog tied to a post near a dusty corner. He was a large, scruffy German shepherd, his fur matted, his eyes downcast. The dog's forlorn expression tugged at Lily's heart. "Mommy," she whispered, tugging her mother's sleeve. "He's so sad. Can we help him?" Victoria, her mother, followed Lily's gaze and sighed. "Stay close, sweetheart. Let's go see." Lily approached cautiously, crouching a few feet away. "Hi there," she said softly, extending her small hand. The dog sniffed the air warily, his ears twitching, but didn't shy away. "You look lonely," Lily murmured, her voice filled with compassion. The vendor nearby barely glanced at them. When Lily asked if the dog was his, the man shrugged. "He's no good," he said dismissively. "Nobody wants him." Lily's heart sank. "Can I pet him?" she asked. "Do what you want," the man replied, waving her off. As Lily stroked the dog's fur, his tail gave the faintest wag. "Mommy, he likes me," she said, her face lighting up. Over the following weeks, Lily and her parents visited the market often. Each time, she spent hours with the dog she named Max. Slowly, Max began to recognize her, his eyes brightening at her approach. Seeing Lily's unwavering bond with Max, her parents started discussing the possibility of bringing him home. They knew it wouldn't be easy. Max was in dire need of care. But they couldn't ignore Lily's determination. One day, Victoria and her husband, Jack, approached the vendor with an offer. The man, eager to rid himself of what he called a useless dog, agreed without hesitation. Lily unchained Max with trembling hands and led him to their car. "You're coming home," she whispered. As they drove, Max rested his head in Lily's lap, her gentle hand stroking his fur. Neither knew that this moment would mark the beginning of a life-changing journey for them both. The journey home was a quiet one. Lily sat with Max in the back seat, her hand never leaving his fur. He seemed unsure, his eyes darting around, ears twitching at every unfamiliar sound. But when Lily spoke to him softly, he would look up at her with a glimmer of trust. When they arrived at their cozy home, Max hesitated at the door. "It's okay, Max," Lily encouraged, kneeling to his level. "This is your home now." Slowly he stepped inside, his paws clicking against the wooden floor. Victoria and Jack exchanged worried glances. Max's ribs were visible beneath his fur, and his movements were cautious, almost as if he expected something bad to happen. They had seen enough to know this dog had suffered deeply. That evening, Lily sat beside Max on the living room rug, reading him stories from her favorite books. He didn't move much, but his head rested on her lap, and his eyes gradually softened. "Look at her," Jack said quietly to Victoria as they watched from the couch. "She has a way with him." But Max's behavior showed the scars of his past. Sudden noises made him jump, and he cowered when Jack reached out to pet him. He was wary, retreating to corners when he felt overwhelmed. Yet there was something about Lily that seemed to calm him. Determined to help Max feel safe, the family sought advice from Dr. Louise Carter, a local animal behaviorist. After observing Max at their home, Dr. Carter nodded solemnly. "This dog has been through severe trauma," she said. "He'll need time, patience, and consistent care to rebuild his trust. Positive reinforcement is key." Following Dr. Carter's guidance, the family created a routine for Max. They started with small steps, feeding him at the same time each day, introducing him to new sounds gradually, and rewarding him for calm behavior. It wasn't easy. There were setbacks. Nights when Max growled at shadows or hid when a door slammed shut. But there were also small victories. One day, Lily came home from school to find Max waiting for her by the door, his tail wagging faintly. As weeks turned into months, Max began to open up. He followed Lily everywhere, his eyes filled with quiet devotion. The road ahead was still long, but for the first time Max seemed to believe that he was safe. By the time spring rolled around, Max had become a constant presence in Lily's life. Every morning he sat by the door, waiting to escort her to the bus stop, and every afternoon he greeted her return with a wagging tail and soft, contented eyes. For Lily, Max wasn't just a dog, he was her best friend. She spent every free moment with him, reading books, telling him stories, or just lying beside him in the backyard. Max seemed to thrive on her attention, his once dull coat now shining, his body slowly filling out with proper care. But Max's journey to trust wasn't without its hurdles. Despite Lily's tender love, he remained wary of adults, particularly men. Jack worked tirelessly to win Max over, sitting quietly near him while tossing treats or speaking in a calm voice. Over time, Max began to accept Jack's presence, though he still flinched at sudden movements. One sunny afternoon, as Lily played with her ball in the yard, Max surprised everyone. Without prompting, he grabbed the ball in his mouth and approached her, his tail wagging like a flag in the wind. "Max," Lily squealed with delight. "You want to play?" She tossed the ball gently, and Max bolted after it, his large paws thudding against the grass. When he returned, dropping the ball at her feet, Lily's laughter echoed through the yard. From the porch, Victoria and Jack exchanged a look of amazement. "Did you see that?" Victoria whispered. "He's finally letting go of his fears," Jack replied, smiling. Encouraged by Max's progress, the family began expanding his experiences. They took him on walks in the park, where he learned to interact with other dogs. At first, Max was hesitant, sticking close to Lily's side, but her cheerful encouragement gave him confidence. Soon he began sniffing and even playing with the other dogs. One evening, as Lily lay in bed, Max jumped up beside her, something he had never done before. He curled up at her feet, resting his head on her blanket. "You're my best friend, Max," Lily whispered, stroking his soft fur. "I'll always take care of you." Max let out a low sigh, his eyes closing in contentment. For the first time in his life, he felt what it meant to be loved, unconditionally. One golden afternoon, Lily and Max were playing fetch in the yard, their laughter and barking filling the air. The family had grown accustomed to these joyful scenes, moments that felt like sunshine after a storm. Victoria and Jack watched from the porch, sipping iced tea and chatting about the day. "I can't believe how far he's come," Victoria said, her eyes fixed on Max as he raced after the ball. Suddenly, a loud bang shattered the peace, a car backfiring on the street nearby. Max froze mid-run, his ears shooting up, his body tense. At the same moment, the neighbor's cat darted across the yard, startled by the noise. Instinct took over, and Max bolted after the cat, barking wildly. "Max, stop," Lily called, but the dog was too caught up in the chase. Without hesitation, Lily took off after him, her small legs pumping as she tried to catch up. Neither she nor Max noticed the car speeding down the street. From the porch, Victoria and Jack saw the danger unfolding. "Lily, no!" they shouted in unison, their hearts leaping into their throats. As the car bore down on them, Max's protective instincts kicked in. He stopped chasing the cat and spun around, sprinting back toward Lily. In a split second, he leaped, pushing her out of the car's path with his powerful body. The car screeched to a halt, the driver's face pale with shock. Victoria and Jack ran to their daughter, their voices trembling with panic. "Lily, are you okay?" Victoria asked, her hands shaking as she checked her daughter for injuries. "I'm fine," Lily whispered, clutching Max's neck tightly. "He saved me." Max stood over Lily, his chest heaving, his eyes locked on her as if to make sure she was safe. Slowly, he leaned down and nuzzled her cheek, licking her softly. Tears streamed down Victoria's face as she embraced both Lily and Max. "He's more than just a dog," she said to Jack, her voice thick with emotion. "He's family." That night, as Lily tucked Max into his bed beside hers, she whispered, "Thank you, Max. You're my hero." Max's tail thumped softly against the floor, and for the first time since they brought him home, he fell asleep with a sense of pride and purpose. Life settled into a happy rhythm after Max's heroic act, and his bond with Lily grew stronger with each passing day. However, shadows from Max's past emerged one afternoon during a routine walk in the park. Lily walked ahead with Max, his leash firmly in her hand. He trotted beside her, his tail wagging as they made their way through the winding trails. Victoria and Jack followed close behind, enjoying the warm sunshine. As they turned a corner, a familiar figure stepped into view. A man with a hardened expression, his eyes narrowing as he saw Max. It was the vendor from the market, the man who had once neglected and dismissed Max as useless. "So this is where you ended up," the man said, his voice laced with bitterness. Lily instinctively tightened her grip on Max's leash. She could feel the tension in his body, his ears pinned back, his stance protective. "He's my dog now," Lily said, her voice firm but trembling slightly. The man sneered. "He was mine first," he shot back, taking a step closer. "You had no right to take him." Lily's heart raced, but she stood her ground. "You didn't take care of him," she replied, her voice gaining strength. "He was starving and sad. He deserves better." The man's eyes flicked to Max, who let out a low growl and stepped in front of Lily, his body a shield. The man raised his hands mockingly. "Relax, kid. I'm just saying you shouldn't get too comfortable. A dog like that, he belongs to me." Victoria and Jack hurried to Lily's side. "Is there a problem here?" Jack asked, his tone firm. The man scoffed but backed away. "We'll see," he muttered before turning and walking off. Lily knelt beside Max, hugging him tightly. "It's okay," she whispered, her voice trembling. "He can't hurt you anymore." That evening, the family discussed the encounter. They knew the man's threats couldn't be ignored. Jack contacted a lawyer to ensure their legal claim to Max was solidified. "We'll protect him," Jack assured Lily. "No one will take Max from us." Lily nodded, her resolve hardening. Max wasn't just a rescue dog. He was her family, her hero. She vowed to keep him safe, just as he had protected her. To ease the tension after their unsettling encounter, Victoria suggested they attend the upcoming pet fair and dog show in town. "It'll be fun for Max," she said, "and a great way to show everyone how far he's come." Lily's eyes lit up. "Can we enter the agility contest? I think Max would love it." Jack hesitated. "Are you sure he's ready?" "He's more than ready," Lily said confidently. "He's amazing." On the day of the event, the park buzzed with activity. Booths lined the grassy expanse, offering treats, toys, and pet supplies. Dogs of all breeds mingled with their owners, the air alive with excited barks and laughter. Max walked beside Lily, his head held high, his tail wagging with curiosity. The once timid dog now moved with quiet confidence, drawing admiring glances from passers-by. At the agility booth, an instructor welcomed them warmly. "Would you like to try the course?" he asked. Lily nodded eagerly. She knelt beside Max and whispered, "We can do this, buddy." His ears perked up, and he wagged his tail in agreement. The course was a series of jumps, weaving poles, tunnels, and ramps. As the instructor explained the rules, Lily guided Max to the starting line. She gave a quick signal, and Max sprang into action. He soared over the jumps with grace, darted through the weaving poles with precision, and bounded through the tunnels with speed. Onlookers gasped and clapped as Max completed the course flawlessly, finishing in record time. "That was incredible," the instructor exclaimed. "Your dog is a natural." Lily beamed with pride, crouching to hug Max. "You're amazing," she said, kissing his head. News of Max's talent spread quickly through the fair. People gathered around to congratulate Lily and admire Max. One trainer approached them with an offer to help Max compete in professional agility contests. But the joy of the day was dimmed when Lily spotted a familiar figure lurking near the edge of the crowd, the man from the market. His glare was cold and calculating, and his presence sent a chill down her spine. "He's just trying to scare us," Jack said when Lily pointed him out. "But we won't let him." The family's resolve deepened. They returned home that evening, determined to protect Max and ensure he could continue to thrive. As Lily tucked Max into his bed, she whispered, "No matter what happens, I'll always fight for you." Max rested his head on her lap, his eyes shining with trust. The weeks leading up to the agility competition were intense. Max trained tirelessly, and his bond with Lily grew stronger than ever. Yet, the shadow of the market vendor loomed. His threats had escalated. He began showing up at the park during their training sessions, shouting that Max belonged to him. Jack and Victoria decided enough was enough. They contacted Miss Patterson, a seasoned animal rights lawyer. During their first meeting, Miss Patterson assured them, "You have a strong case. We'll prove Max is better off with your family." The legal process was grueling. They gathered every piece of evidence they could. Photos of Max's malnourished state when they rescued him, veterinary records showing his recovery, and testimonials from neighbors and trainers who had witnessed his transformation. Lily contributed in her own heartfelt way. She wrote a letter to the court, pouring her feelings into every word. "Max is my best friend. He saved my life when I didn't even know I needed saving. Please let me keep him. I love him, and he loves me." Finally, the day of the hearing arrived. The courtroom was tense as the vendor and his lawyer presented their case. He claimed Max had always been his dog and accused the family of stealing him. Miss Patterson countered with the evidence of Max's neglect, painting a vivid picture of his suffering under the vendor's care. The judge reviewed the photographs and records, his expression growing more serious with each passing moment. When Lily's letter was read aloud, there wasn't a dry eye in the room. Even the judge's voice softened as he turned to the vendor. "The evidence clearly shows that Max was mistreated under your care. He has found a loving home where he is thriving. This court rules in favor of the family." The vendor protested, but the judge's decision was final. Max was legally and permanently Lily's. That evening, the family celebrated quietly at home. Lily sat beside Max, stroking his fur. "You're safe now," she whispered. "No one can take you away." In the following weeks, the community rallied around Lily and Max. The vendor's history of animal abuse was exposed, and he faced consequences that ensured he would never harm another creature again. Max's agility skills continued to shine, and he became a beloved figure in the local community. But for Lily, it wasn't about trophies or recognition. It was about the unwavering bond between her and Max, a bond forged in love, trust, and the courage to fight for one another. As the sun set on their quiet home one evening, Lily lay beside Max, her fingers tangled in his fur. "You're not just my dog," she said softly. "You're my family." Max let out a contented sigh, his tail thumping gently against the floor. For the first time in his life, he knew he was truly home. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you won't miss any of our latest videos. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. Thank you all for taking the time to watch, and see you in the next video.